Okay, so we're going to be going over how to do MLS cash flow research again. We're going to be walking through basically from start to finish how it works. And after that, we're going to go through the process in Podio of what we're going to be doing as well. So let's just say, for example, we have, let's just name a random property here. Let's say Newport. All right, let's just do this one. All right. So 902 North Newport Avenue. So what you're going to do is in your MLS, right? First thing you're going to do is open up the tax record. Okay. 902 North Newport. So you're going to enter that without like avenue or anything like that. 902 North Newport. Right here.
Okay.
And you see 902 South, 902 North, so obviously we want that one. Double click it to open. Okay, this is just for us to get the specs of the property. So what you see right here is 31. It's 1,456 square feet. This is RS50 zoning. These are just, I'm just going over key things to know. And then if you go down, scroll down, you can see the construction is frame. Okay. So a couple things to note about the tax record. Sometimes it's not 100% accurate.
Okay.
I don't know the reasons for that, but I mean, it's often not accurate. So a lot of times what you want to do is look at the pictures, like for example for the frame, for the exterior, for the construction, you want to see if it's wood or frame or block. What you about to say?
I was saying, Carlos said that that's more of a problem in Tampa than in DC.
It's not an issue at all in DC.
Okay, great.
No one asks if it's wood or frame. Like everything is just block over there.
Sorry, I meant the tax record issue.
Oh yeah, no, that one's almost always very on.
Okay.
Okay. So you take a look at this house. Let's see, that's a block house. So you see the cinder blocks?
Right.
Okay. So this is definitely a block house. Oh. Yeah, come on. Yeah, 902. Okay, boom. So it's a block house, okay? But basically what you're doing is just searching the area to see what cash investors are in the area. So two things that you want to look at is one is cash comps. So whenever someone buys a property on the MLS, that's like an investment property, it's 99% out of 100, it's going to say cash.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like. A quick way to just look at cash comps is if you're here in the search, and remember the way to get here is search in residential, quick, okay? You look at everything that's pending and sold in the last 360 days, so you just do 0 to 360 like that, and things that are active as well, okay? Okay, so a quick way to do this, how you would regularly do this, is you just make sure that the pending and sold is clicked. And then after that, you just go to the map and then you search the address. But what we're going to do now, since we're looking for cash comps, is go down here to the sold terms, and we're going to say all cash. Okay? Then you look at the map, type in the address. Oh, oops. 902 North Newport. Okay? So there's our property. You can see right here, there's two cash comps. One that sold for 136, one that sold for 202. So you're going to want to look at your sales app, and you're going to want to see what we're marketing this one for. So we're marketing this for 170,000. Okay. This guy bought this one for 136. Now, all right. So whenever you're dealing with a cash comp, that means that it's a purchase. Like you're looking at properties that you're comparing for the purchase price. Right. So what I mean by that is whenever an investor picks up a property, they pay cash for it up front, and then they sell it on the open market, and then the end buyer usually pays conventional loan, standard bank financing. It takes 45 days, 60 days, something like that. So whenever an investor buys a property, he either buys it with his own cash or like hard money or private money. You know what that is? No. Okay, very important. So hard money is basically like small private companies. Oftentimes they can just be one person who just has access to a big line of credit in the bank, and they leverage that line of credit, and then they loan that line out. So that's what hard money is. Okay. But it's quick, but the points and the interest is a lot higher than normal. 1 second.
I was just telling you.
Okay. So essentially, they buy property for cash. They use either their own cash or hard money. Again, hard money is like they charge high interest, so it's like 12%, 13%, and points on the loan. So that means like they pay a certain amount up front. But it's quick and it's short term. So bank conventional loans are obviously like 30 years, right? But when you're talking about a hard money loan, it's usually for the purposes of investment properties, and it's usually like a year, 2 years, 3 years. Got it. Okay. In any case, whenever you're looking at cash properties, that means so what we are trying to do is we're trying to sell the property. Hang on 1 second. Cool. So again, the cash property price means that's what they bought it for, and obviously they need to renovate it and then resell it. So if the cash property, let's say we're selling ours for 170, just like this example here. Okay. We see that someone bought a very similar one for 200, then boom, that's a very good sign. Obviously, we want to call them up and say, hey, we have this property. I see you bought yours for 200. This one is this and this and that. Tell them the features. Tell them anything else about the property. And basically, that's how we're going to be doing our MLS cash buyer search. So, for example, this is our property right here. This guy bought it for $202,000. Now, again, ours is, remember, 1,456 square feet. What you want to really start comparing is the square footage. You want to be aware of the bedrooms and bathrooms, but really want to watch the square footage. Okay. So, as you can see here, this one sold for 136 cash. All right, now that doesn't sound good, doesn't look good, because we're selling ours for 170. Right. But if you look into it, you see it's way smaller. Yeah. It's almost half the size. Okay. And then you look across the street, and one sold for 202, and that one's only a little bit bigger than ours. Ours is 1465, I believe. 1456. This one is 1665. So about 200 square feet bigger. But it did sell for cash. Let's see. See the condition. Yep, definitely needs a lot of work. Pretty much needs a full rehab. Right. You can see it's very old. So this one sold all cash. All right, you see there? Here was the listing agent. What we want to do is we want to find the buyer. Right. And worst case scenario, we want to find the buyer's agent. Okay. Right? So if you see here, this is the owner. Southeast Property Acquisitions. But we're not looking for the owner. Let me just explain to you quickly how this works. So when you're looking at we're looking at two separate things when we look at comps, okay? Because right now, even though we're not comping the property for the purposes of giving an offer, because obviously we have a contract, we're comping it to see how much we can sell it for. So there are two types of properties you want to look for. I guess two ways you want to look at it. One is the buy, and then one is the sell, right? Right. So the buy is the cash property that's in messed up condition, right? It's messed up, needs work, needs repair. And usually this number, whatever this number is, if we're looking at comparable properties and we're seeing what investors bought that for, usually that's a good indicator of how much we can sell ours for. Right?
Right.
So if you know, let's say an identical property sold for 190, and we got ours for 170, then we're going to try to sell ours for 190. Okay, pretty simple. Now in the buy, there's a few things that you want to note. We're going to be looking, whenever we're doing our MLS cash buyer search, and you're looking at cash properties or you know, we can either call them buy and sell comps, or we can call them as is,
Okay.
and ARV comps. So ARV is like after repair value.
Right.
That's after it's renovated. What is it going to sell for? Okay. Or you can look at again your cash property comps, your as is comps, like in messed up condition, as is condition. Okay. So buy or as is, and then sell or ARV. Okay. So we're aiming to find who bought this, because in every transaction there's obviously two sides of the transaction. There's a seller and there's a buyer. Right. We're not looking for the seller here, because that would be like a homeowner or a bank sometimes. Right. We're looking for the buyer who bought it. Right. That's why I like putting buy and sell. So you're looking for the buyer, and then in worst case scenario, if we can't find them, which I'm about to show you the process for, then we just do the buyer's agent. Okay. Which is also called a selling agent. Okay? Okay. On the sell side, it's ARV, so it's renovated completely. Renovated. And then let's say, so for example, if we're trying to sell ours for 190, you know, I would assume the ARV is probably somewhere around 320. Let's just say, for example. Okay. And in this one, we're looking for the seller, which is also in the tax records. It's called the owner. Got it. Because they currently own it. So seller / owner, or the listing agent. So I say that just to get, just for you to get familiarized with the terminology. Buyer's agent is really I like buyer's agent because it's just easier and clearer. But they call it a selling agent, right? So that's the selling agent here. Got it. Or the owner, seller on the sell side, or the listing agent, okay? Because they basically they're listing the property that the investor already renovated. Right. So you can get in contact with them that way. So since this is a cash property, what are we going to be looking for? So this is a buy. That's a buy. So we'll be looking for a buyer, or if we can't find the buyer somehow, then buyer's agent. Okay. Okay. So the way that you find the buyer is here. So I'll trade this out. Again, this is the owner, right? So this is who sold it. Okay. Okay. We actually know those guys. They do some wholesaling too. Southeast Property Acquisitions. So they're kind of like us, but they would take it down. Okay. Like they actually buy the property as opposed to us, like we just either sign it or double close it. Got it. But they close on it and then they resell it. So that's why they're the owner. Okay. So, actually, one second. Yeah, so basically, the way that you find the buyer when you're looking at a cash as is comp is you go to the tax record. Okay. And then it's usually going to be right there in the owner name.
Or it'll be in the last market price.
Yeah, and what you can do to check is you see who sold. Who was the owner, right? The owner was Southeast Property Acquisitions, and then you see who Southeast Property Acquisitions sold it to. So right here, seller, and they sold it to Germano Medical LLC. Now we got the LLC name of the buyer, right? Nine times out of 10, it's going to be an LLC. So what you do is you go to Sunbiz.
Univiso?
Thank you, sir. Yeah. What you do is you go to sunbiz.org, okay? And you're going to go to search records. You're going to go to corporations, limited liability companies right here, since we're searching LLCs. We're going to search it by name, okay?
Okay.
We're going to go back to the property details right here. Copy this. Paste it here. Search, and then right there. Boom.
Okay.
So if you see Germano Medical LLC, you see that it's inactive.
Right.
However, we are still going to try to contact these guys. Right here. Jeffrey Germano. Okay. So what we're going to do is now we use our skip tracing service. So that's TLO. Okay.
Okay.
You'll get the passwords for all that stuff later.
What is this skip tracing?
So basically what skip tracing service is, it gives us the updated address and phone number for any person.
Okay.
Yep. Well then. And again, I'm going to give you the password and all that stuff for this, the username and password. So what you're going to want to do is, this is the first thing that comes up. Okay, you put 3C. Okay, you put no right here, and then you put 4. I'm sorry, 3. I'm sorry, 3. So it's 3. I got this all messed up. Excuse me. 3D, no, and then 3. Okay? And you click terms and conditions and you put continue. Okay, what you want to do is search people. And then now, what we're going to do is search this guy's name. So Germano Jeffrey and 34685. Cool?
Got
it. Germano Jeffrey. Oops, that's not it. 34685. Okay, Palm Harbor. Search that. And then sometimes it'll say this, right? We're sorry there were no results, but we found one result within 25 miles. And that's probably, more often than not, that's him. You go right there. Let's see. Ooh. Within 25 miles of Palm Harbor, Florida. Yeah. Okay. So right here, this is a good example. We're not really sure if this is him or not. And in addition, I would say way more often than not, they have phone numbers. This guy does not have a phone number. I don't know why, for whatever reason. But if he did, I would reach out to him. But if not, basically the conclusion of this is we really couldn't find a buyer. The next step we can also do is again look at the LLC name, but Google it. Okay.
Okay.
And then you can put Florida. Really, I would put the whole thing. So Palm Harbor, Florida. Okay. So we got them here, but there's no phone number. See that? Company name, Florida, LLC. We got the address, but there's no phone number. So what you're looking for, obviously, is a phone number, right?
Exactly.
Nope, no phone number anywhere. All right. Well, what we're gonna do then is we're gonna call the.
Oh, sorry. It's called the selling agent.
Exactly. Okay. So right here, selling agent Marilyn Rivera Torres. And I think Carlos already knows her. But regardless, we're gonna call them, let them know, hey, I have a property right here next to this property that your client might be interested in. I saw that he bought one for $202,000, whatever this property is sold for. These are the specs. Would your buyer be interested? Send her an email with all the details of the property, and then that should be good to go. You want to keep tabs on that person.
And Jonah would have already given me all the stuff, so I can just copy and paste it over, correct?
Giving you what? Oh, as far as the email? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's that. Okay. So basically, what you would do is you would do that for like a small radius. So, for example, after this property here, you can look at this one too. I mean, and just call them just because they're right in the area.
Right.
Let them know that we're selling ours, obviously a lot higher because we got it because it's a lot bigger. Exactly. You see this? It's in livable shape. Sold for $185, but it's a lot smaller. Right? So it sold for $414. Wow. That's good. It's good to see those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I mean, you see a lot of small properties. This one's a cash deal as well. Okay. All right. Well, after that, what you can do also, so we've looked at our buy as is comps. You can, again, do the same process for all those properties there.
Right.
And try to reach out to all the investors in the area. And then you can take off the cash. So open it up to everybody. Boom, right here. This is a classic example. So you see they bought this for $185,
Mm-hmm.
and they're selling it for $330. See that? For sure. But here they have the buy comp and the sell comp. Okay. So let me show you another example. This one's good. This one should be good enough. Okay. Now I just want to show you what this looks like. All right, we can do it here since this one's a 2. So again, on the ARV comp, what you're looking for is the owner, right? Who is selling this? And we have the listing agent here, so it would be the listing agent and the owner. So same process. Okay.
Worse, listing agent.
Exactly. Cool.
Cool. And it's the same process of just go to the tax record, find the LLC, go to Sunbiz, find the owner, and then see what
That's exactly right. Okay, and how it's going to look in your sales workspace. All right. All right, all of the categorizations are going to be here. And what you can do is, in notes, MLS cash buyers here, you can just put them here like, okay, 153 Main Street, I'm contacting the let's say, seller or owner. His name is Michael Hodge. Bought for $185K. Okay, let me put his number.
Just keep track of everything.
Yep. And then when they're currently interested, you put them here. Something showing here, etc., etc.
And then you can go back and edit that as you follow up.
Exactly.